the name, when the trust formed, was based very much upon the then, I call him founder. He didn't actually found the trust. It was very much a case of a trust being set up on Herbert Whitley's death, in that there was the organisation, which then consisted of the zoo and also Slapton. That was also left to an organisation which actually didn't exist, and there was considerable concern on the number of local people who were very concerned about the survival of the trust, the zoo in particular, hence the setting up of the trust with the endowment that came from Whitley's estate on his death. And they decided to call it the Herbert Whitley Trust, which was reasonable considering that's the origin of it. And Whitley had set up the zoo in the 20s, I think 23 it opened to the public. And one of the extraordinary, I call it extraordinary advisedly, aspects of the zoo in those days under Whitley was that he was very, very keen and strong in promoting it as an educational organization. And he always said, it is not an entertainment, it is providing an education. And that was ahead of his time. We're talking about the late 20s, 30s, when zoos were still considered to be exhibitions almost on the circus style. And he felt so strongly about it that the date escapes me, but I think it was in the 30s, when there was a tax imposed by the national government on entertainment. And Whitley refused to accept that on his organisation, i.e. the zoo, because he said, we are not an entertainment, we are an education. And he felt so strongly about it, he actually closed the zoo down. There was immediate outcry from the local people, Paintonians, and saying, we've lost this facility, what on earth's happening now, we can't do this. And he did reluctantly give in. And I think he put the price up from old 6p to 7p, something like that, to compensate for that tax. But that is an indication of how strongly he felt about it being an education trust, which goes right through to this day. So going back to on his death, when the trust was formed, the Herbert Whitley Trust, which was the name when I came here in the 80s, really did not indicate as to what the trust was doing, the educational side of it, and then moving into the conservation aspects as well. And so in my time, we changed the name from the Herbert Whitley Trust to the Whitley Wildlife Conservation Trust, which then explained in its name, and it's the old business, it does what it says in the tin. And now we are moving forward again into another era where zoos have taken forward their conservation role and education role on a much broader base.